You see this off the record show. Prior to 24 hours ago, I've never heard of the show, but now it's got my attention. I think the host, Mide, she handled the situation quite well. It wasn't perfect, I would just say simply because there's always something to learn, but she handled it quite well. She asked simple questions that any interviewer would ask. And considering that the interviewer, what's her name, Timelo, she gave very vague answers. I mean, something as simple as, what do you do for a living? She started laughing. I don't understand how that's funny. I feel like, considering how the conversation went, I feel like she knows what she's doing is a little off, because I don't think in any world we ever convince or encourage our friends, our sisters to go and do such a job. Our parents would encourage us. We know how that job is. And I think she knows how that job is. That's why at the end of the day, she ended up lashing out at her. But she asked her a very simple question. What do you do for a living? And she started laughing. And then after that, she started giving vague answers. But honestly, she could have just said anything. She could have just said that, oh, I'm in this college studying business or law, and that would have been the end. If the interviewer probed further and said, oh, what college do you go to? Then she could have said politely, I don't want to disclose that to the public and blah, 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 blah. But then she gave very vague answers, started laughing. And the interviewer, Mide, she professionally moved on. But how is anyone supposed to react to someone laughing to such a simple question? You could tell that she knows what the profession that she does, if she wants to even call a profession, because she asked her what she does for a living. She couldn't even make anything up. Even if you want to make it sound professional, an appointment maker, I don't know. But she was given vague answers and she was expecting it to be accepted. Like, obviously, what do you do for a living? She started laughing. She couldn't make up something. I don't know. And then the second question was, who is this Malachi guy? And instead of her to say, oh, just some guy, like, she had to say he's an appointment or an arrangement, or was it that she said? What sense does that make? That is obviously going to beg more questions, because that's not a normal answer that anybody gives. That's not a typical answer, and it makes no bloody sense. And then the third one she said was she was in Lewisham for an AP, for an apartment. I don't know, maybe I heard it wrong. Maybe I needed to go back and put on subtitles or something, but she was in Lewisham for an AP. Is she in London most of the time? She isn't. So what is she doing in London? She had an AP. What is an AP? An apartment. Okay. So do you have do you see how weird that question, that she turned that question into? Like, do you what's it called? Do you visit London very frequently? She could have just said yes or no. But she said no. And then she now said she's here for an AP. Who calls an apartment AP? Or maybe I needed to put on subtitles, and maybe I needed to go back and watch that sentence, because someone needs to make it make sense. Like, you cannot just be given vague answers, considering that this is an interview, and expect it to just be that. Any reasonable person is going to probe further, okay? And the host, Mide, I believe she handled it very well, because how else do you respond when someone gives you such outrageous responses, saying this guy was eating this and licking this, and you're just like, oof, wait, what? Sorry, are you actually saying this on TV? Are you saying this in front of a camera? This is going on YouTube. The video has over 200,000 views now, today, but tomorrow it could have 500,000. That's a lot of people, okay? And that's, like the host said, this is not something that people typically just go out, even on a platform. The people don't go out on a regular day talking about these things. Talk less of coming onto a platform and talking about licking this and eating that, charging this and charging that. I mean, there's no appropriate response that anyone to have. And I feel like she kept her calm. So I don't know why people are attacking her like she did a bad thing, because she was very professional within this. I don't know what they're comparing her to, saying that she's unprofessional. In comparison to who? If you're not really just saying in comparison to a white person, but they will ask the exact same questions, because you can't just say this guy was an arrangement. I'm in London for an AP. Who calls an apartment an AP? Maybe some slang since she's young. But still, Media handled it very well. I like, she did a good job doing that. With that being said, I feel like this Tomelo girl, she doesn't really have common sense, because, to be honest, I haven't seen her content. But if her content is how do I say it? How she presented herself on a show is representative of who she is as a person and her content. I'm not going to waste my time looking at that further. If that's anything, we should take notes of how Mide handled this, because that was very professional. I've not seen an interview where people have said such outrageous, outlandish things. So this is not a common thing for me. So I'm not even going to go watch her content, but I feel like that girl has no common sense, because last time I checked, that part-time profession, is illegal. I mean, maybe you can go have an OnlyFans account, but that's not something that in your good sense you just come on a platform like YouTube and a show like that and speak about. Like who says that? Oh my. And I believe deep down inside, this girl knows, she knows exactly how this profession is. Like I said, this is not something any of us would want to go and do. Maybe in a different on a different timeline, this is something that you would see that people find themselves doing. Not that anyone actively go out. Maybe that's the case for her. At the end of the day, we don't know her living situation. We don't know what happened to her growing up. But she knows that there's something off about it, because when Mide asked her a simple question, so do you not feel ashamed? Because I'm sorry, I think society standards has slipped so low for this to be something that we're encouraging. Be yourself, go be a that. No, it's not happening. But she asked her a simple question: are you ashamed? And then she started lashing out because she knows. That's why she couldn't answer at the beginning. What do you do for a living? She started laughing. I mean, if that is what you want to do for a living, maybe you want to be an escort or something, I think she should have found a professional way to word it. Like at some point in her life, since she's young and she has youth, but clearly no common sense, she should have thought that this question is gonna come up at some point, and she did it. She should have had like some answer to give people, ready to give people. Oh, I'm, I don't know, a companionship expert or something like that. I mean, that would have still begged more question, but still that would have been something other than laughing. And because she knows that's why that is some that's not an ideal profession for any person to be in, male or female, honestly. um that's why she started laughing, and that's why when we did ask her, are you ashamed? She started lashing back at her, because these are very, very simple questions. And I don't think there's any interviewer who will hear all the things that she said and not probe further. I think such a person is like, you can tell that Mide is interested in, she's, I don't say she's interested, but she's here to do her job. She's invested in the conversation. Because any person who can hear all those things and just move on is, I mean, clearly that person is not too fussed about your presence being on a show. But Mide approached this interview with the intention of having an actual conversation with this girl, helping her tell her truth or whatever that is, or whatever that story is. But honestly, that girl is, she has youth. She lacks common sense. Hopefully she can turn this around for herself and turn this into something good. But essentially, it's stupidity. Everything that she did, it is stupidity. And I feel like Mide handled it very, very well. And I think that's all I can say about it. If you want to go and waste 30 minutes watching it, it's fine. But I don't know why anyone would be defending, what's her name, Temelo. With the 15 minutes of fame that she had from telling the story of this guy called Malachi, I feel like she could have used it a lot more wisely, wiser, whatever the word is. She could have used it a lot better than to come on a show and be disrespecting the host. Because I think she's 18, she has youth, so I guess at her age you can just consider her dumb. She could have maybe gotten some interview prep or something, but she came into this completely unprepared, expecting vague answers to be accepted. And when she couldn't accept the fact that she was asking her questions and probing further, as any interviewer would, she started lashing back and insulting her. I mean, why would you say that about her mom? You don't know her mom is her. You don't know if her mom is dead or if her mom is sick. Like, clearly, like, regardless of how she felt Mide was acting towards her, which obviously is non-existent, she wasn't being rude, I don't think it justified her lashing out at her like that and saying all those things that she did. But still, you have youth, but you also have the naivety of youth and the stupidity of youth. Honestly, this is a little bit embarrassing for you. You could have used the 15 minutes to do a lot more with yourself, but this is what you did. Ugh. But anyway, if you want to go and watch it, go and watch it.